Hey everybody, it's Debbie O'Neill of Scrap Me Quick Designs in the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group. And people have been asking, how do you make your own custom coasters using Cricut Design Space? And what I wanted to show you today was how do I apply the vinyl to a ceramic white tile that I bought at the office supply store and then turn it into a coaster that you can use. So let's get started. You're going to need some supplies, and the first thing you're going to need is a white ceramic tile. And this ceramic tile is something that you can purchase at any of the home supply stores. So this one in particular I bought at home at Lowe's, I think, but I bought them at Home Depot too. They're about 16 cents a tile, and they're back where all the tile is in the store. And as you can see, they're just a ceramic tile on the back. They have kind of a nice finish on the back, and they're just white ceramic. All right. Now you'll need a tile, or however many you're going to do. You'll also need some transfer tape for the vinyl. So the transfer tape that I prefer to use is the Cricut transfer tape. It has nice grid lines on it, so it's easy for me to use it. And it comes in rolls. As you can see, this is a piece and it's reusable, which is what I really love. Because this is one that I've used several times, and I just kept the liner after I cut it. And so I'm able to reuse this until it stops being sticky and picking up my vinyl. So that's a great thing. I have also used the Dollar Tree contact paper as a transfer tape. It works pretty good. I would suggest that you when you cut it to use for transfer tape, that you push it down on like your pant leg or something to kind of get some of the sticky off of it before you try to use it with vinyl. A lot of people were having trouble with it not wanting to come up from the vinyl when you use it straight off the roll. So, but like I said, I like to use the Cricut transfer tape because it's great. You'll also need some kind of a squeegee. So I just use my Cricut scraper tool, and that works great as a squeegee. You'll also need some type of vinyl weeding tool, and I just use the Cricut one, and it's kind of a hooked tool here, if you can see that. There you go. And so you'll need a hook tool, and you'll also need, and we'll talk about the vinyl in a minute, you'll also need some kind of rubber feet to put on the bottom of your tile. Now, some people like to just add cork to the bottom of their tiles, and they just cover the whole back with a piece of cork that they hot glue on or glue on. I haven't found that to be necessary, and these are for college dorm rooms, so they don't need to have a beautiful finish to them. I like to just use they're vinyl rubber bumpers is what they're called, and they're already self-adhesive. And let me open this one up. I buy these at the home store, and these I think I bought at Home Depot. And they're cheap. They're 16 feet, so that means I can do 4 coasters, and I think the pack of them was like $2. They were really cheap. But they're nice flat, if you can see that. They're a nice flat bumper. Yeah, there you go. And they've already got the adhesive on them. So all I'm going to have to do is peel it off and stick it on the back of my tile when I'm finished to add feet to my tile so it doesn't scrape up any surface that you're going to put it on, like a desk or something. And so that's my tip. That's what I like to do, is I use the rubber feet when I don't feel like I really need to finish. This has a nice finish on the back of it without having the cork on it, so that's why I decided to do that. All right, now let's talk about the vinyl. Now the vinyl that I chose to cut and use is Oracle 651. It is an outdoor vinyl. And with the outdoor vinyl, the features that you get with that is that it is waterproof and it is heat proof. You do not need to add any covering, and in fact I recommend you don't add any covering on the top of your vinyl when you make coasters. There is no need to do that if you use a permanent outdoor vinyl such as the Oracle 651. There's a couple of different places where I order mine from, craftvinyl.com and expressionsvinyl.com. There's a lot of different resources out there for vinyl, and there's a list in our Facebook, in the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group, of different places where people order vinyl from. And just depending upon what colors I'm looking for, or what kind of a deal that I want to get on the vinyl sheets, or how quickly I need it shipped to me, makes a difference on which source that I want to use. I am working on a tile that is going to a college graduate as part of her gift box that I'm making for her, of different things that I've made to help celebrate her graduation. And so I wanted this really pretty bright red that's the Texas Tech red, and she is going to Texas Tech. So what I've done is that I have created using in Design Space, I have taken a JPEG image from Google that I just Googled some Texas Tech college images, and found an image that I really liked. They're the Texas Raiders, if you don't know, and I love this image. So I cut this out of the vinyl, and I used a JPEG, like I said, in Design Space using the basic upload feature, and I cleaned that up. I have a video, another video that you can find on my YouTube channel, and also in my on my blog, that shows you exactly how to go in and use a JPEG and clean it up to make it a cut file in Design Space. So it's really easy. It just takes a little bit of patience to do it. And then once I had that upload, I was able to then cut it out on my Cricut Explore machine, and then it cut it all out. Now I used the weed tool, all right, and I peeled away. When you talk about weeding, you're talking about peeling away the vinyl that you don't want to leave on your image. So once I peeled off of this image, this is what I was left with. So I peeled all of these little pieces off here. Wherever you see the white, this is the lining of the vinyl. The black is the vinyl. Okay, so the little weeding tool helped me get this little mark here, and I peeled it carefully around from all of these. All right, so you will use your tool to weed your vinyl, and you're going to leave the image that you want to put on your project gets left on the carry sheet, the cover sheet here. Okay, and then that is the vinyl that you're going to transfer onto your tile. All right, now the Texas Tech colors are red and white and black, and so I wanted to use, since I'm using a white tile, I wanted to use my white tile as my base background, but I wanted to add red and then this image to it. So I created just a square of red that I'm able to cut out, and I'm going to add this to my tile here. And I like to use my mat when I'm doing this, my craft desk mat, just so I can make sure that this is lined up fairly easily when I'm doing it. And now this is when you're going to take your transfer tape, okay, and this feels like plastic. If you haven't used this before, if this is the first time you're trying to do any vinyl projects, it feels like plastic, and then it's sticky on one side and smooth on the other, and it has lines on it, if you can see that. Yeah, let me show it over this. So yeah, so it has lines on it, and I'm able to use those lines to line up the bottom of the image that I want to pick up, just to make sure that I have it straight. And now I'm going to use my scraper tool and scrape this image onto the transfer tape. Okay, so I'm just scraping the vinyl, and this is kind of a big piece, so I want to make sure that I get it all on there. So I'll scrape this way, and then I'll pull it down just to make sure I get it adhered well. Okay, now what I like to do is flip this over, and then I carefully peel off the backing for the vinyl. Okay, so now I have just the vinyl is on my transfer tape, and then I'm going to lay it onto my project and line it up where I want it, and that looks pretty good here. Okay, now when I'm doing a piece that's this big, I like to start on one edge and see how I don't have it down on my project all the way yet. I'm going to slowly continue to apply it to the surface of my project. Okay, and when you do it this way, you have less chance of getting a lot of bubbles, air bubbles on your vinyl. Okay, and then you're going to slowly peel away. Just going to slowly peel away your vinyl. I mean your transfer tape. Sorry about that. You're going to slowly peel this away, and then I always keep my transfer sheet here, the backing, so I can lay this back down, so I can keep reusing this. Okay. There are some air bubbles still on here, so I'll use my tool and I'll kind of scrape it a little bit and get some more of those air bubbles out. Don't worry about the bubbles. The bubbles will go away. It's natural to get the bubbles on there, and everybody I know thinks, oh, it should be perfectly smooth when I first do it. That is just air trapped underneath. I will try to push this out just to try to go ahead and help it along with getting some of the air that's trapped underneath this. I'm not going to worry about those bubbles. There's not that many on here, and they're not very noticeable. Okay, you can see a few of them on there. All right, those will go away in about 2 or 3 days. Those air bubbles will naturally just go off of your project, so you really don't even need to mess with it that much. So when you're doing your tiles, don't freak out if you see that. You can also use a wet method way to apply vinyl to like ceramic tile and glass and mirror, and I've done that in another video. This one I just wanted to go ahead and get this put down because I'm not going to worry about the air bubbles. The air bubbles will go away in 2 or 3 days. You won't even see them on there. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add my my Ranger piece. So I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to add this to my transfer tape, and I'm just scraping it along here. You guys can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to peel this up. Okay, if there's any edges that did not get adhered to the transfer tape, you can just use your tool and scrape it back on there. So now I have this on my tool, and then I'm going to put this onto my project where I want to have it. Okay, that looks good, and now I'm going to use my tool again and scrape this onto my image. And there again, I'm going over. This has a few little lines on here, so I want to make sure that all of those are adhered onto this really well. And then I'm going to peel this off. Okay, so now I have the Ranger mascot, the Raider mascot onto my tile, and now I want to do my my lettering. Okay, now the lettering that I chose to do had 2 layers to it. Okay, so it had a back layer and it had a top layer. Now you could just add the top layer if you want and not add the back layer. This is kind of like a shadow. If you don't want to, if your font has a shadow on it and you don't want to use it, just click the eyeball in Design Space and turn it off and it won't cut. But I liked the idea because the tile, because their colors are red and white and black, I wanted to add that white layer underneath my black lettering. Okay, since I picked a font that has, you see the white would be underneath it. So I'm going to add this first, and I have a smaller piece of transfer tape that I'm going to use that just is easier for me to hold and is about the size of my project here. And I'm lining this up. That's what comes in really handy when you have grid lines on your transfer tape is to make sure you've lined up. So if you can see that, I've lined that line up along the bottom edge of my letters. And then there again, I just want to make sure that I've got, there's a couple of little skinny pieces on this. I want to make sure I've got that on here really well. I'm going to flip this over. And peeling this off, see how when I roll off the backing to the vinyl, I'm rolling it at an angle. And that helps me peel this off a little bit easier. And when you're doing, these have like real thin lines on it, so when I'm doing that, I do this pretty slowly, just to make sure that I don't have any that are not sticking down for me. Okay, so now I have the background, and I'm going to add that to the bottom of my tile here where I want it placed, and then I'm going to add it on. Okay, same thing, same steps, I'm just doing them one at a time. Okay, so there is my background for my lettering, my shadow, I guess you would call it. And now I'm going to line up the bottom of my lettering on that line that's on the transfer tape so I can make sure I have it straight. Okay, there we go. I'm just adhering this to my, sometimes I'll even just roll it across the back of it. This one has really super thin lines, so I'm going to very carefully peel this off. Okay. As you can see, I'm kind of also using my thumbnail to kind of hold that onto the transfer tape, because some of those super thin lines are not, kind of want to pop up, so you just kind of grab it, and there again you see I'm pulling this off at an angle, and I'm doing this in real time for you guys so you can see this is not super quick. You do it slowly, you do it right the first time, and you don't have issues. Some people try to rush this process and then they're not happy with the results. Okay, so now I have the top layer of my lettering, and I'm going to line this up. Now I can put this directly on top of my letters now because I'm able to see that, okay, because the transfer tape is clear. Alright, now what I want to do is I wanted to create just a slightly bigger shadow than what's allowed with this, so I offset my lettering on top of that shadow. Okay, I knew when I did this, when I picked this font, that I was going to do that, so that it just stands out and looks a little more 3D. And now I peeled it up. Now my tile is ready. Alright, and then I will add the sticky feet to the back. Okay, now this has an adhesive that will adhere really well to the tiles. I've used this several times. And they stay on, once the adhesive kind of cures, they stay on really well. And I'm just kind of adding them onto, I'm making sure that they are on, let me see if you can see this. So there's like, these are raised, I'm making sure that they're on that raised part equally so that it'll be even, the tile will be even when we finish it. I'll just add that on. Push them down really good, and now my tile is finished, and you would be able to use this. Now I will let this cure for probably 3 days, and what that means is while it's in the curing stage, I could use the tile, but I don't want to get it wet or wash it or anything like that. I don't ever want to put these in the dishwasher. This is something that you would just take a damp cloth and wipe them off, okay? If I make them for a gift, I always have a little tag that I add to it that just lets them know not to put in the dishwasher, but they can wipe it with a cloth. Letting it cure for 3 days, just make sure that that adhesive is well set, and then you won't have any trouble. I have coasters that I had made several years ago. They're still in great shape. They still work really well. None of the vinyl's lifted off of them, and it's using the outdoor permanent vinyl is the trick. Some people used the indoor vinyl and then they were having trouble with it lifting. Anyway, so I'm going to make a few of these. I may decide to make several different collegiate images for Texas Tech, and then give a set of 4 coasters to my graduate. But this shows you guys exactly how easy it is to add and create your own tile coasters to give as a gift. I hope you found this helpful. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. Also, you can follow us over at the Let's Learn Cricut Explorer Facebook group if you are a Design Cricut Explorer user. And you can find me always at scrapnequakedesigns.com. Hope you have a great day. Bye.